Hello guys, it is editing Christina again. If you have not yet watched part 1 of this 2-part video, go and do that, because this video, it will make sense without it, but it will make a lot more sense once you've watched part 1. However, I wanted to come in and say I'm sorry just for like the abrupt entrance from when I start talking in a minute, because like I mentioned in part 1, splitting this video up into 2, I didn't know I was going to do that, and so I literally just had to find a point in the middle of the video that I could just cut in half, but there's no like, hey, this is what we're talking about, welcome. It's just me talking. And so if you haven't watched part 1, or I don't have this disclaimer in here, you would probably be like, wow, that's such a bizarre way for this girl to start her video. So I just wanted to come in and say that. Go and watch part 1 if you haven't already. If you have already, here is part 2. Thank you for being here. Enjoy. Love you so much. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And yeah, let's do it.
The other thing is that I have felt very anxious, and growing up, I have had a history of mental health in high school and in just navigating life and circumstance at that season of my life. I have had some rocky moments in my journey, but I really had gotten to a point, especially with all of the mindset work and just healing work that I've done over the years, where I genuinely was a very, very grounded human. And I still believe that I am, but it's like, it takes a lot of effort for me to be. And I didn't question this. I feel like I've had so many experiences in my life over the last 3 years, from losing very important people in my life, navigating things back home, moving, states, pivoting in business, going back to work, like all of these different things that have warranted my body kind of feeling like it's in a bit of a flight state, because there's just been so much change. And like change in and of itself, like whilst we absolutely love it, as humans, our bodies do not love it, because it's a threat to our safety. It's a threat to what's familiar, right? So I've kind of always, again, gaslit myself into thinking like, or maybe I just feel this way though, because there's so much going on and yada, yada, yada. But it's like, no, like I don't actually think that that's the case. And to have this like baseline of feeling like I do actually have like anxiety, and I do feel just like kind of unsettled just in the day to day, even when I have literally no reason to feel that way. There's got to be something to that, right? And yeah, I'm just, all of these things I'm so curious about, where I'm like, I genuinely am like so happy and content and grounded and all these things. And then equally, I have these like lingering anxious feelings. So it's just interesting for me to see now, like, will this change post getting my body back to a state of just my body being my body, my hormones being my hormones, and not having anything else like interfere with that, if that makes sense. So another thing that I've noticed is I'm not going to like diagnose myself with any type of thing, because I have not been diagnosed, but prior to my period, like I have had some serious like PMDD vibes over the time. Like prior to my period, this is not every month. I feel like this year it's definitely not been as much, but still quite consistently. Okay, please excuse me, my camera stopped recording because I've been yapping for so long. But yeah, like leading up to my period, it became quite common for me to have some really, really, really dark times prior, very irritable, like my mood swings. And I feel like I'm someone who's very good at internalizing to a fault. And then I would like combust. It's like internally just like combust and just not being in a good place. And it's like, it felt so real. Like it feels so real. And then I get my period and I'm just like, okay, like cool. And it's like the extreme of, when people joke about like, oh, I felt like a bit crazy, or like I felt a bit sad, or like whatever. And then I got my period, it makes sense. Like I have that, but it's like very, very dark times. And I never had that before. And like I said, I have had a history of mental health and all these things, but not for such a long time, and something that I really believe that I have healed from and just feel so good with now. Like it's not even a thought. But like around that time of my cycle, crazy. Yeah, I just couldn't understand why I felt the way that I felt. And I have done a lot of research, and not to just decide that like just because other people have experienced it means that like, again, that's the reason why. But so many people have had similar experiences where they've never struggled with something of the sort, and then had the mirena put in and experienced a lot of it, PMDD vibes coming into their period. And I've also read that, especially if you have had history of like mental health or anxiety or whatever it is, the hormone that the mirena releases actually can bring on a lot more of that too, because of the extent to which it does release into your body. And again, I'm not a medical professional, but I'm just curious. I'm just like, okay, like, is there a reason for these things, and could it potentially be tied to something that I have a choice in, you know, removing from my body and seeing, you know, thereafter what that looks like. So yeah, I'm sure there'd be more, but that was kind of what came to mind for me. And the timeline of all of it, like I said, very much syncs up to when I had the mirena put in. So yeah, that's interesting. And overall, coming into really why I've decided to take it out, I'm just at a point where I feel very uneasy having something in my body that isn't mine. I think coming to a place now and feeling so good in the way that I do take care of myself holistically, and in not just, back in the day I used to just like eat to hit my macros, or eat to lose weight, or eat to hit my calorie goal, or eat to XYZ, whereas now the way that I eat is very informed. Don't get me wrong, I still allow myself to like eat, you know, eat out, have a cocktail, chocolate, like whatever, when I desire that in moderation, but for just the way that I lead my life in general, and the way that I eat and fuel, it is through the lens of like prioritizing my health and my hormones. And so I feel confident in the fact that I do take care of myself enough to give my body a chance to actually see what it's capable of without, you know, the mirena. And like I said, I needed it at a certain time in my life, and now I just believe that I'm ready to experience life without it. And again, I don't know what this is going to look like, right, guys? I might get 3 months in, my endo might get really bad, touch wood, or there might be, you know, things or decisions that I make that go back on everything that I'm saying right now. Like, I'm not putting a definite yes, no, right, forever, like, on anything. I'm just ready for a new chapter and a new journey with this, and nothing is permanent. So I'm just going to let myself kind of, yeah, make decisions as I need to. And that's why I want to take you guys along for, because I doubt that this is going to be a linear journey. It would be amazing for it to be, but we never know, right? Like, we just never know. And I'm also very, very aware that the reason why I have the mirena isn't just for birth control. It is for the fact that I have endometriosis, and that it supports the pain of that, and it slows down like the growth of it and all of these things. But then equally, it's interesting because I have had 2 periods per month, which is kind of the opposite of what the mirena is like essentially supposed to do, if that makes sense. So yeah, I'm really aware of like, there's very valid reasons for me to have this, and I'm just going to do what's right for my body. And right now, this is what feels right for my body. But if that changes, I'm also okay with that too. So the next little bit here is I've just like asked myself questions that I'm talking to you guys about. So hopefully you're interested in these questions. But it says what the next chapter is going to look like for me, and kind of what I'm going to be prioritizing. So I think I'll do another video on this if you guys are interested in hearing more about it in depth. But I'm kind of going to go into, yeah, like what my focuses are going to be. And as I was writing these down, it just reaffirms what I've been saying, in the sense to which all of these things are quite integral parts of my life as is. Like, I already do all of these things, so it's more so just turning the dial up on the intention around them and elevating them where I can, and just being more intentional with the reason behind why it is that I do what I do day to day. So what I've written here is really rebuilding a lot of trust in my body, and in, again, its innate ability to actually show up for me and take care of me. Before I get into this, I'm so curious if anyone else can relate, and there's a few people that I've spoken to that can relate, so it's why I want to bring it here too. But I was saying this to Cruz, that since having the mirena in my body, and again, all of these things that I can look back on in hindsight now, I have felt so disconnected from my physical body. It's such a strange thing to try and explain and put language to. It's been like, Christina is here, and I do all of these things, and I take care of myself, and like whatever, like I do all of the things to feel in my body, and it feels as though I kind of float out here. Such a strange thing, but it's like almost this constant state of disassociation, and not from a point of anything other than I just don't feel like my body's mine, which is so bizarre. And I really believe this is because I've got, something in my body that's not mine. And it can sound crazy, but I've really felt this way. It's not felt in my body. And I know, so aware that can be for so many reasons, but because of the work that I do to feel that way and to feel connected, like to feel the opposite of how I feel, I just really believe that there has to be something that's kind of causing it. And again, I really believe that that's probably going to change a lot when I do get the mirena out, which is something that I'm really, you know, looking forward to and excited about. But yeah, I just feel very disconnected to myself and my body, and I'm just excited to come back to me. So I don't know if that really makes sense, but I feel like if you have experienced something similar, I would love to hear, because I have heard from so many people that I can't explain it, but I just fully get it. And I'm like, yeah, if you get it, you get it. So anyway, all right, so what this is going to look like, I got my dot points. Nourishing myself to support my hormones. This is something that I already do and something that I will just continue to do. And I think I'm not going to go into all of like how I do this or what I eat or whatever now. That can definitely be another video. If you follow the Nourishment Project, I feel like you definitely get a vibe of it over there as well. I think I'll do that in another video. Things that I eat to support my hormones, the things that I eat to support pain management, to reduce inflammation, because that then leads to more pain when it comes to endo and all the things. I will do another video on that, because that's something that I've really been educating myself and trialing and erroring with myself over the last 3 years, and it's something that I feel very confident in now and just educated around now. But there was a time that I didn't feel that way, so I feel like that could be a cool video to just like sit down and chat with you guys about. And the other thing, I was going to go on a bit of a tangent, but I will quickly, because it's so, I love seeing how far I've evolved when it comes to my relationship with food, where there was a time in my life where I was just like, yeah, just hit my calories, just hit my macros, you know, always be in a deficit, just hit your protein, whatever. Whereas now it's like all of those things are so irrelevant if my health is compromised. And for a lot of people, their health is compromised through the lens of just trying to hit their macros, because a lot of education is actually lacking in awareness of the individual to, you know, what it actually looks like to take care of yourself, what it actually looks like to eat in a way that supports your body to function optimally, not just look a type of way, you know. So I'm very passionate about that, but that might be a different video. The next is prioritizing herbs, spices and teas, etc. that support my body, my hormones and my endo. So like same kind of gist. Prioritize my nervous system, so regulation, managing stress levels and stuff like that. Stress has such a massive role to play on how our bodies respond, especially during the time of our cycle or in life in general. Nervous system regulation and stress levels is massive. So that is something that I do believe I do, but I want to do better. Grounded start to my days. This is something that Cruz and I do every day. So it's just continuing as is, but we have a very grounded start to our morning. So we'll always go for a walk outside. I like to get my eyes in the sunlight first thing to support my circadian rhythm, to therefore support my sleep. So it's kind of like my evening and my quality of sleep, and therefore a massive part of my body feeling at a grounded state, because I'm getting good quality rest, always begins in the morning. So how I start my day, getting sun in my eyes, like not having stimulation, not going on my phone. We go for a massive walk, we then come home, we go to the gym, and it's just like a very beautiful start to the day. So just continue that. Prioritize movement so that my body feels, you know, solid. So what that will look like for me, if you've watched my New Year's like goal setting video, you would know all this already, but my strength training as is, walking, Pilates is new, and then mobility. Less for like stretching purposes, but also like just to connect to my body in like a slower way and actually feel my body stretching, feeling mobile, feeling able, all of those things. And then the other thing is really just like continuous education for myself, and also having myself as a bit of a test dummy, if you will. Like I want to see how my body continues to respond to certain things, like what does work for me, what doesn't work for me, and just knowing that that's always just going to evolve naturally, as it has up until this point and as it will forever continue to do, and always just kind of be educated more and more and more around my choices. So yeah, something else that I've got here, which I've kind of already touched on, but I want to go into again. I love how the more that this video is going on, I'm just like sinking further and further and back into my bed. How comfortable does my bed look, by the way? It's so comfy. Something that I've got here is like, I really trust the timing of my life, and even the hard shit, sorry if you can hear the dog, even the really challenging times, even the decisions that, you know, if now I was faced with a decision I would choose differently, but 3 years ago I chose something else. I trust that I always make the decision that I need to, and so even in this, it never want to come on and be like, I regret this, I regret that, because I don't. I really trust that it served the purpose, and I trust that it was what was meant for me at the time. And now I just feel like, no, it's not meant for me anymore. And I think the biggest thing that has contributed to that has been, like I've said, the fact that I have gotten to a place where I do feel so educated, especially around how I care for myself, what I eat, you know, how I can support myself, my pain, my endo, my hormones, and all of these things. I feel very confident and capable of that. Whereas even 3 years ago, if someone was to say, oh, you can like try and holistically, naturally like support yourself, I would feel so fucking overwhelmed and I would have no idea where to start with supporting myself. So what I want to say in that as well is if you're listening to this and maybe you are just getting started on your journey of educating yourself around your body, your hormones, like things that you can do to support yourself, please don't put the expectation and pressure on yourself that you need to just get off birth control tomorrow or get off the mirena or change this or change that and just like figure it out on your own. That's not the case. And a lot of the time, if you don't feel comfortable in doing that, it's not the time for you to do that. And of course, we can always learn as we go. And I'm a very big advocate for that as well. So if you actually feel good in like, hey, I've got no idea, but I kind of want to go cold turkey and figure it out, power to you. That's incredible. But the reason why I'm sharing this is like, don't want you to leave this feeling, okay, I should do that too, and then feel really overwhelmed, because that's just not the point. Everyone's journey is their journey. It is so specific to them. You know, personal experience, education, awareness is key always. So just always check in with yourself, right? Check in with yourself and make sure that the decisions that you're making align with you and where you're at now. And always allow yourself to progress forward and evolve forward. We always will. It's what we're here to do as humans. But don't put pressure on yourself to do any type of thing just because you've heard this person does that person does that, this person said this, Christina said this. Like, it's your journey, it's your body, and you know your body, right? Like, that's the thing. It's your journey, it's your body. So yeah, I guess the last little thing I'll wrap this up with is any fears that I might have, because I feel like it would be like a question that I would be curious about if I was watching this if I was just watching this in general, but just like anything that I'm fearing around having my mirena removed. So I'm sure I mentioned this, but I get it removed on Friday the 3rd of January. So it's currently the 29th when I'm recording this. So you'll see this after I do have it removed. But I kind of went into this decision very blindly confident in it's going to be the best thing ever. I'm so excited, yada, yada, yada. And then I kind of just had a bit of a process over this weekend where I started thinking, it might not just be a linear, perfect, amazing experience. Like, whilst there might be areas of it that feel incredible, you also still need to be prepared for if there is things that do actually not go amazingly after the fact, if that makes sense. So obviously having endometriosis, what that's going to look like in terms of my pain, again, I feel very confident in being able to manage it, and I know when I don't manage it well, I do have like more flare-ups, if that makes sense. But just not knowing how my body's going to respond, like once it's out, like will it get really bad? Will it start to grow heaps? What's that going to look like? I've got no idea. I do feel like potentially it might be time for me to have another surgery for my endo, but I can't be 100% sure. I'm going to chat with the specialist when I go there on Friday, and this is going to be a new specialist because obviously now I live in Queensland. So yeah, the next point is like pain and endo. I'm not sure what the pain's going to be like. Like, is it going to be the same? Is it going to be different? Is it going to be more? And yeah, just like the unknown of how my body's going to respond, because obviously the mirena, I've had it in for 3.5 years, and then it's just like literally as simple as you go there at 12 o'clock on Friday, it takes a couple of minutes, they take it out, and then all the best. It just blows my mind that I can have something in my body for 3 years and it be doing its job, whatever that has been, and then it's like it's just not going to be in there anymore. For your body to get used to something for 3.5 years and to normalize its presence and its job for 3.5 years, to then just be like it's not in there anymore, you can't tell me that your body's not going to be like, what the fuck, bro? So I'm kind of just like, I'm nervous about how it's going to respond, but I'm also very prepared for the journey of just letting it be what it needs to be, giving my body the best chance to regulate again and do what I can to support myself. And you know, I think when it comes to fears around this, I just think nothing's permanent ever. Nothing is ever permanent, and if I can just give myself grace in the journey and also just not marry anything needing to be one way forever, and give myself permission to change my mind if I need to explore other avenues, if I need to go back on the mirena, like whatever it is, like I just trust that I'm going to make the right decision for myself, and I'm not putting pressure on that, and I'm not attaching forever to anything. So yeah, I guess that is my TED talk around the mirena and endo. I'm sure there's so much that I didn't cover in that, because like I said, I've got some notes here, but I just like really riffed and winged all of that, but it's just what I felt called to share with you guys today. So thank you for listening. If you are still here, you're the real MVP. But if you are taking anything from this conversation, that's really why I'm here and why I'm sharing it. I feel so passionate about sharing this conversation and about just raising awareness, again, not around this being the right decision or the wrong decision, or that what I'm saying is correct or incorrect or whatever, but more so just to get people's minds ticking around the fact that you do actually have a choice, and there is so much that you can learn around your body and your choices, especially as a woman. And like I said, it wasn't until I was around these conversations myself where other people started questioning what I had decided to be normal that I started to educate myself even further to now get to a point that I'm making this decision, and that this decision feels really, really good for me to be making. But again, that wouldn't have happened if I wasn't actually exposed to these types of conversations. So thank you for being here. If this has resonated with you at all, I would love to hear from you. Comments in my Instagram DMs. I've already had so many conversations with some incredible humans around their own experiences, which have been crazy to hear. You know, how much, again, whilst no one's at fault, like we can be led astray when it comes to just medical advice, that it's just very cookie cutter, or it's just like, just do this and it would achieve you this or XYZ, without ever talking about even the harmful side effects of the things that are supposed to really support us. I think there's just so much to be said for that. And yeah, if you're navigating that right now, I see you, like, you're not alone. I get it. I love you. I've been there. I'm there. So many of us are there. And I just want this to be a space where it's like you feel safe to actually be seen in your experiences and be so validated in your experiences, and also feel empowered to make decisions that feel good for you and your body moving forward. So with that being said, I will love and leave you guys. Again, if you haven't yet subscribed and you want to stay along for the journey, and also just like other vlogs, things in my life, all the things, please subscribe to my channel, share it, like it, all the things, comment. It means the world to me. And I will see you guys in my next video. The next video that you will see in like the Mirena Endo Diaries will be how I'm feeling post it being taken out. So love you guys so much. Thank you for being here, and I will see you in my next video.